Chapter 6 Doing a Little More. I asked Marty, "Is the customer always right?" He replied quickly, "You bet they're always right." Then he thought about it. "Well," he said, "they're not always right. I don't tell them that. I listen to them. I might not agree with them, but I listen. They eventually wind down. I listen." He said the word listen 3 times in answering the question. That's a lot of listening, I thought. Then I remembered the first time I met Marty. I was surprised he was actually listening to the customers as they were going through his line. One person Marty listened to was Linda. In her early 50s, she always came through his line with a big smile. One day, Marty noticed that the smile had disappeared. Something was wrong, and I knew it, so I asked her if she was okay, Marty said. Linda told Marty that she needed a heart transplant and was going to the University of Minnesota right away for surgery. She was frightened. Marty said, "I hugged her and I told her everything was going to be all right." 3 months later, Linda walked into the store, a new heart pumping in her chest. Marty said, "I got so excited I kissed her." Not long after, Marty told me the story. I picked up our hometown newspaper, and on the front page was a photograph of 2 women. A story accompanying the picture told readers that one woman needed a heart transplant and the other woman had survived the surgery. Her name was Linda Gerard. I didn't know Linda's last name until I read the story. Looking through the phone book, I found Linda's number and I called her. "Linda," I said, "I'm a friend of Marty's." Before I could say another word, she replied, "You are too?" "How often do you and Marty get together?" I asked. "We don't get together," she said. "I just see him at Walmart." "Well," I said, "the way he talks about you made me think that you guys were good friends." "We are good friends, but the only time I see him is at Walmart," she said. When I got home from my surgery, there was a card sitting on the kitchen table. I looked at the return address and it read, Aaron Martinson. I didn't have a clue who Aaron Martinson was. I opened the card and it was signed "Your friend Marty" at Walmart. So to answer your question, yes, we're good friends. I asked Marty why he sent her a card. "I just think if you want to be a friend," he replied, "sometimes you need to do a little more." That was Marty's second lesson. Try to do a little more. Sometimes that philosophy ran contrary to company policy. Cashiers were instructed never to put their own money into the register if a customer didn't have enough to pay a bill. Marty ignored this rule. "I've done it hundreds of times," he said. If someone came up a few cents short in paying the bill, Marty would stick his hand into his pocket, grab a handful of change, and pay the difference. Pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters were constantly going out of his pocket into the cash drawer. At times, though, the overage required more than pocket change. That was the case of a local minister's wife. She found herself $20 short in paying her bill. Marty paid it. The next time she was back in Marty's line, she announced to the other customers, "This is the man who gave me $20. I asked him, "What's the most money you've ever put in the till when someone was short?" 50. I had to reach for my wallet on that one. "Why do you do that?" He thought for a moment. "Sometimes after I tell a customer how much they owe, they look into their wallets or purses and discover they don't have money with them. They're embarrassed, and I don't want to embarrass them in front of other customers by making them put stuff back. So I take the money out of my pocket or wallet and I throw it in the till. They always pay me back." "Do they? Always?" "One time I gave a guy $10 and he never paid me back," Marty said. He paused and then smiled. "I know he feels worse than I do." People knew Marty was genuine. They gravitated to him. He told me about 2 different women who appeared in his line at various times but bought nothing. He guessed that they were lonely or had personal troubles. They stood in his line for one thing, a hug. He would hug them and say a few kind words, and they would simply disappear. "Maybe they felt nobody appreciated them," he said. "I just wanted them to know that I did." After watching Marty hug one of the women, a man standing in line asked, "Are you some kind of preacher?" Marty answered, "I just want to be a friend." He also cast no judgments on the people who went through his line. Maybe it stemmed from his childhood. Everyone was treated with respect, regardless of how they looked or what they bought. Every August in South Dakota, there was a big motorcycle rally held in the town of Sturgis at the foot of the beautiful Black Hills. Many bikers traveled through our town on the way to the rally. Some of those visitors stop at stores along the highway. A few years ago, when the rally was about to begin, I was standing in Marty's line right behind a biker. He was big and wore a lot of leather. His arms were filled with tattoos, and his hair was in a ponytail. I kept my distance. Marty treated the biker like he was the mayor of our town. "You be safe," Marty told the guy. The biker walked out of the store with a huge smile on his face. Marty, serving as an unofficial ambassador for our Chamber of Commerce, made him feel welcome and appreciated. I wouldn't have been as kind. I had made a value judgment about the biker. Marty did not. Sometimes doing a little more means placing greater emphasis on human decency. I admired Marty for many reasons, but how he treated children won all the blue ribbons. At most stores, kids are looked upon as a necessary nuisance. They don't have much buying power and come up short on the customer treatment scale. Kids just love it when I shake their hands. Future customers, Marty said with a wink. A couple of days before Father's Day, a little girl in the line with her mother walked up to Marty and handed him an envelope. He opened it and found a Father's Day card. The little girl signed her name and included a picture. Marty couldn't speak. Realizing his predicament, the mother explained, "It was my daughter's idea. She insisted we buy you a card because she thinks you are so nice to her wherever she goes through your line. She thinks you must be a terrific father to somebody." One night I met Marty and Mickey at the Chinese restaurant. We ordered the buffet and got up from our table to fill our plates. Marty went to one side of the buffet line. Mickey and I went down the other. Just then, a little boy, maybe 5 years old, walked past Marty. The boy stopped dead in his tracks and stared at Marty. Then he turned to all the people seated in the restaurant and shouted, "Mom, Dad, it's Marty from Walmart." Mickey ducked her head as if to hide. "See," she said, "we can't go anywhere anymore." We finished filling our plates and sat down at our table, Mickey near the window and Marty across from me. A while later, the little boy came running towards us. 5 feet from the table, he leaped. He intended to land on Marty's lap, but he came up about a foot short. The boy bounced off the table and fell on the floor, but not before sending Marty's plate into the air. The food went flying. Stunned, I didn't know what to do. Marty did. He got out of his chair, picked the little boy off the ground, and sat him on his lap. After having worked all day, Marty was tired and hungry, yet there he sat with wet egg noodle on his shirt, and he listened to everything that little boy said to him. I stopped eating and watched all of this in silence. After about 5 minutes, the child's mother and father appeared at our table to collect their son. The boy jumped off Marty's lap. Marty stood and shook hands with the mother and father. Then the family left the restaurant. "Marty," I asked, "who was that?" "Some people who go through my line at Walmart." Mickey told me that what Marty didn't. "The little boy just lost his grandpa," she said. "He asked Marty to be his grandpa now. Sometimes you need to do a little more. I just want to be a friend."